Alright guys, welcome back. Now let's talk about the second section today, two-dimensional syllabus. What is that? I have already picked up the overall aim of our SBL examinations purposes from the SBL syllabus. Let's read it together. The aim of this syllabus is to demonstrate organizational leadership. That means at first you need to act like a company manager or the company's directors to lead the company into the right way. So we have already studied different leadership styles and approaches, and we have already practiced that a lot. Do you agree? Yes, this is what we have been doing so far as a leader. So in your exam, you are about to challenge the different approaches and the styles of the leader, and you will have to be able to tell them what are those suggestions are, and what the suggestions are, and where the inappropriateness of their leadership style and the leadership approaches are wrong. So ladies and gentlemen, you need to act like a leader and challenge the existing leaders on their approaches. This is the first one. And the second one, you need to demonstrate your senior consultancy or advisory capabilities. These two vocabularies are totally two different things. McKinsey's Bain or BCG group, they are doing consulting services. We call them MBB. And Big Four accountancy firms normally are doing the advisory capabilities, or advisory jobs. Of course, they have their consultancy services line, but their main service sector besides the auditing are the advisory services. Advisory capabilities tells you what to do according to their past experiences. Consultancy services tells you what to do next, not according to their past experiences that much, but help you to implement the plan into details. These are the two biggest difference between the two. So MBB, McKinsey, Bain, and BCG are totally doing different projects with the accountancy firms like a Big Four companies. All right, guys. So, and carry on. And the relevant professional skills. There are basically 5 professional skills you need to possess before your exam. What are the 5? Commercial acumen, communication, analysis, skepticism, and evaluations. These are the 5 professional skills which will be talked about later on. No worries, we will touch about that later. I'll tell you what to do with that. And after that, through the integrated case study. So what is an integrated case study? That means one scenario plus 5 or 6 exhibits together with the questions. It used to be like 3 or 4 different scenarios with 4 or 5 different questions, but now 4 or 5 questions, or sometimes even 6 questions, but only one scenario. All right, guys? So these are the fundamental purpose and the aim of our entire paper. Is that clear? Can you follow me? Very good. Carry on. Let's talk about the diagram of the entire syllabus. As I told you that we have 8 different technical capability module and 5 different professional skills. When we combine them together, it's like this. The left top one is leadership, ladies and gentlemen. Fortunately, likely we have already finished the module of leadership, but there's only one thing left. It's called ethics. I'd like, when I teach the course class in the face-to-face study, I'd like to put that ethical studies at later, or maybe perhaps the chapter number 9 or chapter number 10. Why? It's because the ethics is not only the code of conduct for one of the companies you need to study. It is the right way to make a decision. So you have to study some basic knowledges such as the corporate governance and the strategy management and the risk management before you make an ethical decision. So I'd like to put the ethics at the end of the study. So besides that ethics part of the syllabus, we have completely finished the leadership. What are that? 3 points you have to study: strategy, leadership itself, and the culture. Finished, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. And after this one, we could have the corporate governance. As I told you, governance are the way you manage your organization. It's the way that your organization always follow. So this is the approach or the method to manage or leading the company into the right way. Governance is the Spanish word. The original form for that is gobernar. That means to lead, to stir the company, to lead or stir your company into the right way. So leadership is the style, and the governance is the approach or steering. So these are basically one thing, but from two different perspectives. Therefore, we put them into one part horizontally. And after that, we move on to talk about the strategy. So strategy, ladies and gentlemen, will always have to study that strategy management. Strategy management always have 3 parts. What are the 3 parts to construct strategy management? First, you need to understand the strategy position of one company. Normally, some models you need to study. Normal model we use are PASTEL model, Porter's 5 forces, value chain, SWOT analysis. These are strategy position model. And after the strategy position, we could have the strategy choices. Strategy choices models such as BCG models or Porter's generic strategy, Bowman strategy clock, or even the TOS model, marketing 7 Ps. So these are choice models. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to be clear. These are not the same category. Don't use the wrong models. Position and the choices have different models. And the third one is strategy implementation. So that's a project management. How are we going to implement our previous strategy choices? So the sequence is like 1, 2, and 3. So combined together is called strategy management. But in our syllabus, this part, strategy, has only 2 parts of the strategy management. What are the 2? The first and the second. That means our syllabus strategy only has position to study and the choice to study. And where are the implementation? The implementation is further divided into 1, 2, 3, 4. The other 4 parts. These 4 parts are implementation. Right, guys? So before you implement your strategy, you have to know some basic knowledges about the risk management. Some students still got confused about the risk management and the corporate governance. Let me tell you, the corporate governance is a board level of risk management, and the risk management itself is approach. So therefore, if we combine them together, this is corporate governance and this is risk management. And coming closer, something still inside. What is that? Internal control. What do we control internally? Is your internal risks. So internal control only care about your internal risks. Risk management concerns about the internal and external risks. And the board level control is corporate governance. So these 3, they are having these different relationships. Okay, is that clear? And after risk management, I strongly recommend you to study this part. This is internal control and audit. Okay, and after the audit, I recommend you to study the technology and the data analytics. Technology, what is that? Technology is something like AI and the cloud computing or edge computing, whatever. So these are basic technologies we need to study. However, after we study the technologies, more importantly, you have to be able to evaluate the application of the previous strategy or the previous technologies under your strategy approach. So let me have one example. For example, if we want to have a big data analytics capability in our company, and we need to buy some machines, and we need to use some latest technologies, right? So, and then the questions will give you this scenario about their implementation and application of that big data analytical skills, and you are about to evaluate whether their application or implementation of that big data analytical skills are appropriate or not. So you, as an accountant, need to be able to evaluate whether their choices is correct or not. All right, guys? So technology itself are not our area of expertise. What we are good at is to evaluate whether the application of that technologies are appropriate to the current circumstances in the company. Okay? So, and second to last, there will be the finance in planning and decision making. These are your F-level fundamental knowledges such as F5, F9. These two papers give us the fundamental financial knowledges under this module, financing, planning, and decision making. So in the strategy professional level such as SBL, the examiners will not test you on how to calculate the ROCE, how to calculate the IRR in one of the company, or they will not ask you to construct the investment appraisal, because the investment appraisal will be ready for your examinations. What you need to do in your exam is to evaluate whether that method, either is ROC or IRR or other investment evaluation appraisal criteria, are appropriate to the companies at this very moment. All right, guys? So higher level, no need to calculate. In simple English, one more time, higher level of examination, no need to calculate that much, no need to calculate that into details. What you need to do is to challenge the way that they calculate and to challenge whether the method they are adopting are correct or not. Okay? Right. And finally, we have the innovation, performance excellence, and the change management. Innovation is the capability for you to demonstrate in your exam to help the company turn around sometimes. When the company has long-term declining, and you need to help them to turn around by innovative ideas. So if you want to be innovative, you have to know those different technologies previously. And after the innovation, performance excellence is from Baldrige. It's a model. Baldrige give us a model called performance excellence model. That model helped the organization to examine whether their performance are good or not. We have about 8 to 9 different areas to be examined. It's called performance excellence. And finally, change management, we have another 3 or 5 different models to study, such as Kurt-Lewin models or force field analysis, pit models. So what we're going to focus on here are everything about the change. If you have to change your processes and you at the same time think about your organization attitude, your organizational structure, whether your current organizational structure can help you with the changes, the latest changes. Because if the organizational structure is not right, sometimes when you change your strategy itself is useless. So your strategy implementation will only be successful if you have a right organizational structure or right organizational processes. So in change management, we care about the structure, we have to care about the processes, and even the change procedures in your company. Okay, guys? So these are basically what you need to study for your coming examinations. We call them the 8 technical capabilities. Is that clear? All right. And after that, we are going to talk about the professional skills. Let's check it out. Before we move on to talk about the professional skills, you need to be aware that in your exam, the technical capability has 80% of marks. So maximum 80% of your marks out of the 100 are related to the technical capability. That means the previous 8 models. And you have to memorize these 8 models. I mean, learn that by heart, counting by fingers. You need to know that 8 models. Let's check whether you can remember it or not. Let's check this one. I put them into this one. Why there's the blue color right here? Because we have already finished that. Is that good? Yes, congratulations. In these short sessions, we have already finished 1 module. And just to plus another 7 modules, you completely finished the technical modules. Let's check what about those 8 modules together. First, leadership. Second, corporate governance. Third, strategy. What are the relationships? The left top is the, what we call them, the leadership. The right top is the corporate governance. These are the two things, but combined together is into one entire view. That means just the totally two perspectives for that. It's basically one thing. Leadership style is the style itself. Corporate governance is also related to the leader. Is mainly about their approaches to manage the company into the right way, to steer, to govern, to lead the company. So basically, if you want your company to be effectively in leading, these two have to be taking good care of it. Leadership and the corporate governance. After that, strategy. After that, risk management. After that, internal control. And after that, technology. After that, there will be finance, basically F5 and F9 basic knowledges. And after that, change management, performance excellence, innovation. So these are the 8 different technical areas you have to study. And after that, coming back, there are another 20% of marks given for your professional skills. What are the 20% of that? Let's talk about the professional competencies. Professional competencies has 20 marks in your examinations, and there are 5 vocabularies to be tested in your exam. What are the 5? First, communication. What is the communication? Communication will be tested in 2 ways. First, you remember about your English wording. That means your wording must be appropriate, must be suitable, must be professionally enough. For example, if you want to say the company is rich or the company has a lot of money, how are we going to say? You don't say the company has a good cash flow. Don't say that. The correct way to say is the company is financially viable. This is something that an advisor could say. The company is financially viable. Learn from that. Another thing that you have to be very careful with is your audience. Suit your answer to the potential audience. Before you answer, you have to know who you are addressing to. In simple English, if you write to a senior management, you have to make your answers clear with clear outlines and broad answers, broad outlines, and don't go for details. General points will be enough. But if your audience are middle-line management or even some outsiders such as financial analysts, you have to make your answers into detailed answers. All right, can you follow me, guys? Don't go for general answers at this moment because they would like to see the details. You need to help them to explore more, right? So when we talk about the wording, first, your English professionalism. Second, focus on your audience. Who are them? And focus on their attentions, focus on their need, and constructive answers. Okay, guys? That's the first one. Second, under communication, the second thing is your medium. That means what kind of papers do we need to construct in your exam? Do we need to start initiating a PowerPoint slides, or do we need to write down a report? Or maybe sometimes a memo, or perhaps a press release. There are many different ways of presenting your answers in the exam. So when the professional marks gave you for communication, you need to adopt the right medium to carry your answer. So before your examinations, you need to know how to write down the report. What are the format and structure of the report, as well as the memo, press release, and the risk management, risk registers, and sometimes even the project initiation documents, right? There are a bunch of formats for you to remember and study before your exam. How are we going to study that? Perhaps next time. But ACCAglobal.com has one article called Effective Communication, written by ACCA SBL examination team. And I strongly recommend you to download that file and read it carefully. You will know what are the formats that you are supposed to be presenting in your examinations. And second one, commercial acumen. What is this? Commercial acumen means you have a good commercial eye on the business opportunity, but there's only one thing. And the second one is your cost. So in simple English, commercial acumen is for you to demonstrate the capability of recognizing business opportunity to earn more profit or revenue for the company in terms of the market development or the customer acquisition, something like that. And at the same time, help the company to save unnecessary cost, for example, like a product redesign or even the process rationalization. How are we going to use new processes to reduce the unnecessary cost? So combining together, these are commercial acumen. After that, let's talk about the analysis. This is rather simple. I guess everybody here is good at analysis. Your analytical skills is totally based on your previous study together with the SBL business model studies. So when you want to analyze something, you need to have a great train of thought. Where to go? What are the things that I would like to write down? What are the views, different points? So you need to study the business model before that. However, there's a rules right here I want you to study. First, very clear rule. You need to tell them the root of the problem in your exam. Always focus on the root of the problem. For example, if the company has a higher return of the product rate, the rate of the product returning is higher than usual. What are the root of the problem? Don't always go for product quality. Sometimes your customer service is also one area of potential, right? And another one perhaps is your logistics. Your logistics is not good enough, and that causes our customer to return the product back. So there are many different reasons you need to examine. So how are we going to examine that? You need to examine that by using a model called value chain. Ladies and gentlemen, value chain is the model that to help us to examine the root of your company's problems. That's the root of the problem. All right. So analyze, focus on the root. Focus on the root at the same time. Tell them how did it happen, why did it happen, and what are the causes, the fundamental causes, fundamental reasons for that. Okay, this is called analysis, is analytical skills. After that, skepticism has two things you have to study. First, you need to probe the reasons of one particular statement. That's probe. The second, when you believe their statement or claim by one of the directors is wrong, or because of their self-esteem or self-greedy, you need to be able to challenge them. But when you challenge, don't go for a rough way. Challenge in ethical and professional behavior. In an ethical and a professional way. This is how are we going to challenge their claims, challenge one director's claim or their statement. Okay, so skepticism, in simple English, don't automatically accept their reasons. Don't automatically believe their reasons. Sometimes you need to be able to review the insight and see something under it. Okay? This is called skepticism. Your professionalism determines the level of your skepticism. So you need to be professional enough, guys. Your working experiences counts here. And the final one is evaluation. Evaluation is also very simple. That means when you want to evaluate something or when you want to express your idea, you need to make it in a balanced way. What is a balanced way? That means you need to tell them the pros and cons, the pros and cons. You need to tell them the benefit and the drawbacks. You need to tell them the advantage and disadvantages. So pros and cons, benefit and drawbacks, advantage and disadvantages are the ways that we need to evaluate in a balanced way in your examinations. You have to focus on the balanced way. Don't go for one part of it. For example, if the company has 17 million cash in their bank account, is that a good thing? Yes, of course, it's a good thing. The company has a lot of cash. The company is financially viable. Is that a bad thing too? Yes, it's a bad thing. Why? Because the company do not know, or maybe their financial director do not know how to reinvestment that money. 17 million cash for a smaller company is way too much. Maybe perhaps they don't know how to invest. Maybe they don't know how to earn the extra money by the reinvestment, right? Then you need to tell them in a balanced way, good thing and a bad thing. So another example was if the company do not have the distribution capability, is that a good thing? The company does not have a distribution capability. Is that a good thing? Yes, it's good because they don't have to inject their capitals into the distribution channel, because they can simply outsource their distribution capability to those outsiders, such as the logistic companies. That's a good thing. But the poor thing is, if you do not have the distribution capability, sometimes it is out of control. The customer always complain about your distribution, such as the e-business, online shopping. Okay, so customer always complain about their distribution services. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. So one thing always has two way of evaluation, to see them in two different approaches. So finished, ladies and gentlemen, combine it together. These are the 5 professional skills that you need to be aware of during exam. However, that's not enough. Today is only the short session. I'm trying to help you to ease you in. I'm trying to help you understand the things that we tested. That's not enough. These are only the brief introduction of that. And we need to have some questions to practice that, perhaps next time, not today. So before we talk about the detailed syllabus, I'd like to go back to your technical marks and have a quick review. Guys, one more time, SBL is tested in 2 different approaches. First one is your technical capabilities. Second one is your professional competencies. Technical capability have 8 different areas to be tested. And here are the detailed syllabus. Let's read it together. Unsuccessful completion of the paper. Candidates should be able to apply excellent leadership, which we have already finished. And ethical skills, we have not touched that yet. I told you we talk about that next time, perhaps chapter number 9 or chapter number 10. To set the tone from the top, that means the right type, the right term have to be good enough. The top layer, decision maker, the boss must be integrity, right? They have to have a good heart, good integrity, and good intention. That's the term from the top. So you need to help them to set the right tone off the top and promote a positive culture. Culture, we finished. Within the organization, we can use the cultural verb to help them reconstruct their cultures. Adopting the whole organization perspective in managing performance and value creation. Focus on the value creation. Second one, that's your corporate governance, right? Leadership, corporate governance. Let's talk. Evaluate the effectiveness of the corporate governance. That means you need to check whether their current corporate governance is effective or not. If there are ineffective corporate governance, that means in terms of the way they manage their company, you need to point out the ineffectiveness and tell them your suggestions. And agency problems or agency system of the organization. Recognize the responsibility of the board or other agents towards their stakeholders. So stakeholders analysis, we call them a Mandela matrix analysis, as I told you before, the V2MGO model. will have to be used. This is F1 knowledge, including companies' social responsibilities and reporting implications. Next one. 3. The third one is about your strategy. As I told you one more time, strategy management has 3 things: strategy position, strategy choice, and strategy implementation. But in our syllabus, SBL will only talk about the strategy position and the strategy choices all together under the category called strategy. Strategy implementation will be further divided into 4 different categories to talk about in your later chapters. So, evaluate the strategy position of the organization against the external environment and the availability of the internal resources to identify what? Feasible choices or options. So, the first 2, position and the choice. And number 4, analyze the risk profile, risk analysis, risk management frameworks from your audit and assurance paper. That's your fundamental F paper. We have to be familiar with the risk management approach. So, analyze the risk profile of the organization and any strategy options identified within the culture of responsible risk management. In simple English, if you want to give them a strategy option under the section number 3, then under the section number 4, you need to evaluate whether that strategy made after your section number 3 is good enough. Does it have too much risk to be carried out? So this is section number 4, right? So analyze the risk after the choice. Section number 5 is about to select and apply the appropriate information technology such as AI, cloud computing, edge computing, 5G communication infrastructures. These are the information technologies. You need to select the right one and apply that one. The keyword is apply that one into the real use. As I told you, the technology itself are not our area of expertise. What we need to do is to use that technologies and apply that into some new business models and then evaluate that business model with your well-calculated risk attitude. All right, guys. And data analytical skills to analyze factors affecting the organization's value chain to identify strategy opportunities and implement strategy options within the framework of robust security and control. And number 6, evaluate management reporting and internal control and audit system. This is internal control from your AA paper. So your previous paper knowledges will have to be tested and used again on your professional levels to ensure compliance and the achievement of organization's objectives and the safeguarding of the organization's assets. So this is AA fundamental knowledge. So you don't really have to study SBL knowledge because they are the same. They are totally the same knowledge. Section number 7, apply the high-level financial techniques from the applied skill exam. That means your fundamental level in planning, implementing, and evaluation of strategy options and actions. So as I told you, this is your FA paper, financial analysis, your performance management paper, something like that, guys. So also from your previous F level study. And the final one, number 8, are the true SBL knowledge. Enable success. Enable success. That means if you want your strategy to be successful, you need to enable them, help them. Through innovative thinking, apply best-in-class strategies and disruptive technologies in the management of change, initiating and leading and organizing projects while effectively managing talent, that means human resource, and other business resources all together. So guys, congratulations. We have already finished the entire technical modules introduction and your professional competencies introductions. So basically, before we talk about the detailed syllabus, let me summarize for you first before you take a break. So ACCA mainly tests your 2 capabilities under the SBL syllabus. The first one is your technical capability. We have 8 modules. What are the 8? One more time. Leadership, corporate governance, strategy, risk management, internal control, and technology and their applications, finance, and after that, your project management, such as the performance excellence and innovation, right? These are the 8 areas of technical capability. And after that, don't forget, your professional competencies will also be tested. It ranks about the 20 marks in your exam, which is very, very important. So you need to know the communication way, the right wording to be adopted, and focus on your audience, and at the same time, select the right approach to write down your answers. Is that to be a PowerPoint slides? Is that to be in a report? Is that to be in a memo? The examiner will ask you specifically. So according to their requirement, write down your answers. They will ask you whether they need a report or a memo or briefing papers whatsoever. And this is communication. And after the communication, we have the commercial argument. Focus on the revenue, the market, the profit. At the same time, don't forget to reduce the unnecessary cost, right? Resolve the profit, reduce the cost, and altogether, commercial outcome. Analysis, don't forget to focus on the root of the problem. Tell them how did it happen, why did it happen, what are the root causes. Focus on your value chain. Your value chain knowledge is very useful right here. Skepticism, trying to prove the answers, prove the right ways, challenge their fundamental reasons, and you need to be professionally enough to see the insight under it. And finally, evaluation. That means to evaluate the answers in a balanced way. Pros and cons, benefit and drawback, at the same time, advantages and disadvantages. All right, guys, that's it. Congratulations. Let's take a short break. After that, we talk about the detailed syllabus of our ACCA SBL papers. Please enjoy.